Bonjour à tous, aujourd'hui je veux partager avec vous 5 avantages d'apprendre une nouvelle langue. Y si queréis saber cómo aprender un nuevo idioma, tengo un vídeo completo aquí, un otro aquí. Y si queréis mejorar tu mentalidad cuando vas a aprender este idioma, tengo un otro vídeo aquí. Y ahora vamos al vídeo. And now the first point is that I started to get comfortable with making mistakes. Because listen, if you truly want to learn a new language, you have to get comfortable with the idea that you're just going to make mistakes. Not one mistake, not two mistakes, so many mistakes. And the problem is, sometimes you make the same mistake over and over and over again. And now I don't mean to sound so pessimistic, but all I'm saying is that if you're a perfectionist like myself, or if you don't like to make new mistakes, which is essential for learning anything, not just a language, then I promise you, learning a new language will definitely get you comfortable with making new mistakes. Alors le deuxième avantage à apprendre une nouvelle langue est que ça va t'aider à trouver un emploi. Now if the jobs you're applying for require the language you're learning, then of course, learning that language will help you get the job. But even if you speak the languages for the jobs you're applying for, I promise you, if you're in that job interview and they ask you, tell me about yourself, and you tell them that you learned a language on your own, I promise you that will significantly increase the chances that you get the job. Because it shows you're ambitious, it shows your curiosity, it shows you want to better yourself. And why would a company not want someone who wants to better themselves? My dad always tells me this quote, work harder on yourself than you do on the job. And definitely learning a new language will help you work on yourself. And by the way, I promise you, I'm not waffling or just reciting information from the internet. In my own personal experience, in the job interviews that I've done, whenever I've mentioned that I learned French and Spanish, I promise you they started to see value in me. Because it's easy to say, oh, I'm hardworking, I'm into personal growth, I would like to work on myself. But when you have something to show for it, it becomes a completely different ballgame. So yeah, learn the language if you want to get a job. The third point is that you will start to build the confidence in your ability to learn new things. Now, honestly, this was the one that had the most impact on me. When I first started my current job, there were a lot of things that I didn't know how to do. But I would constantly remind myself, if you were able to learn passé composé en français, then you can learn anything. And by the way, this wasn't just at work. This was for anything that I wanted to learn. Because learning is a skill. We actually learn how to learn because we each have our own learning style. So by learning how to do new things, you will start to learn what best method works for you. So if you start to learn a new language, you will have more confidence in your ability to learn new things, which is a very valuable skill to have. ورابع نقطة إنك هتقدر تبني علاقات أحسن مع الناس. Now I read this quote that I really liked and I want to share it with you. It says, speak to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. If you speak to him in his mother tongue, it goes to his heart. Ah, beautiful. Now back in university, I love how I'm saying back in university as if I didn't just graduate last year. But anyways, when I was in university, I worked as a teaching assistant and a residence advisor. And I had a lot of residents and students who spoke French and Spanish as their first language. So being able to talk or joke around with them in their first language helped me build a more meaningful connection with them. So for example, when I was learning French, I was watching the French YouTubers that my residents had watched when they were 12, 13, 14. So I was able to relate to so many things. And it doesn't just have to be with YouTube. It can be with culture, it can be with music, it can be with slang. There's so many things that you will be able to relate to people with once you start to learn their language. El último punto es que puedes ver Netflix sin culpa. Now, I'm not sure if you also feel this, but whenever I watch a TV show or a movie or even a YouTube video in English, I get this voice in my head that says you should be doing something more productive. But if you're watching something in the language that you want to learn, whenever that voice comes to mind, you can reply to that voice and say, I'm trying to learn a new language, so please let me watch this in peace. And also, I have a confession to make. I've personally accepted that I can't completely eliminate procrastinating. So now instead of procrastinating by watching YouTube or a TV show or a movie in English, I now watch them in the language that I want to learn. So I'm still procrastinating, which I'm not saying is a good thing. But if you're gonna procrastinate anyways, might as well learn a language out of it.
Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And like I always say, this is the Debo's way. Find your own way. I'll see you soon. Peace.